Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this information session on the pre-publication of Cluster 6 work programs for the years 2026 and 2027. My name is Simon Nardin, and I'm a member of the CARE4BIO network and also NCP for France for Cluster 6. CARE4BIO provides national contact points and applicants useful information and insights to help you apply for fundings under Horizon Europe, Cluster 6, and European partnerships. We try to provide a better understanding of the Horizon Europe ecosystem, and well, that's what we will do. We will be doing today with this information session. So I have great news for you today. The European Commission has published the drafts of the upcoming work programs on its Transparency Register website. As you know, these drafts are texts that are still being developed and may change before their official publication. However, they are very useful to plan your participation in advance and to be as well prepared as possible to respond to calls as soon as they are published. Whether you're an experienced applicant or new to EU funding, this webinar will equip you with actionable steps to be taken to be ready when the official documents are published. Well, to plan ahead for your participation in Cluster 6, we will rapidly go through the work programs for 2026 and 2027. And the speech will be made today by my colleague, Maxime Dooms, who is Cluster 6 National Contact Point for France, and he will give you his advice for understanding the construction of the future work programs. Regarding the global organization, comments and questions can be submitted on the YouTube chat, so please do not hesitate to ask your questions. And we will also dedicate some time at the end of the presentation of Maxime to answer your questions. All the materials you will see today will be available on the CARE4 website, so please do not hesitate to ask your questions to Maxime. And that's it on my side, so I will now give the floor to Maxime. Please, Maxime.
Thank you very much, Simon, for this introduction. So as you mentioned, so Simon and me are working in the same team at the French Ministry in charge of higher education and research. And today we'll give a special focus on the availability of the drafts work program for 2026 and 2027 for Cluster 6, obviously. So what I want to highlight first is how it works, how the countries give their insights to the European Commission. Basically, how are the work programs written in a very pragmatic way. So you have on the left side in the EU scale, the program committee, which is an assembly where all member states participate with up to 2 representatives, and therefore each country has national program committee representatives. That's why you have the double-sided arrow. And then you have the NCP team, so Simon and me, and we're trying to work as closely as possible and as relevant with our national program committee representatives. So we are well aware on how the programs are written, what may be the understanding of some formulation to follow up the process, to basically deliver to our research and innovation community the best possible advice in the application phase. There is a dashed arrow also because some of NCP may be experts and also participate in the program committee, which is sometimes my case, for instance. So this is the way it's working to elaborate these work programs. From a confidentiality point of view, we have the first dialogue between the European Commission and the program committee. So one document is shared, and then the program committee gives some comments. And until summer 2025, this was confidential. So there was this round of discussion and going back, and then a second draft where the European Commission addresses the comments from the first round, and again the same discussion occurs, And again, that was still confidential. Confidential, still on the third draft, and I took third, but that's the usual metrics, but can be 2, can be 4, never mind. And in the end, we have what we call inter-service consultation, where the work program that is nearly finalized is circulated within the different services of the Commission before publication. At this stage, again, and I just want to stress that all this information are confidential, having one big consequence that we as NCP are not allowed to give guidance on that. We cannot officially question the Commission about the writing or the understanding of the calls. And the largest share of the research and innovation community has no access to that. But after the program is finalized and stabilized, it became public. And at this stage, the program committee is a bit, let's say, out of the loop, as are the program committee representative. And now it's the turn of NCP, because we have a work program to work on. And then we have a discussion with European Commission to clarify some points sometimes. But the main focus from this stage on is with the research and innovation community. But this is only, or this was only, once the work program were publicly delivered. However, now this is a bit different, because although the discussion being in the program committee remain confidential, the comments made by the program committee remain confidential, there is still a chance for the research and innovation community and the NCP's network to have access to these working documents. Clearly speaking, the drafts after each round are now published under the transparency register of the European Commission, which has quite some advantages, because now all the research and innovation community can access this information way earlier than the official publication stage. Also, it still comes with some drawbacks, because they are only working documents, so you have to take them as they are, but still very relevant for you to be able to anticipate a lot more than before your application, or not application, but you can have way more time to prepare your application, to frame your network, and so on. So the question is, okay, these are public information, but how do I access it? Well, browse, there are several options. The main one is that you can access it through the comitology register. We'll browse that. We brought the process after that together, so you can do it by yourself. Or there are some more user-friendly options proposed locally, often by your NCPs. So I took the example of France, where we have on our websites a dedicated page on the publication of the draft work programs, and there, by cluster, by area of Horizon Europe, you can have access to the latest available documents directly. But if you don't, or if you want to look for other documents, I will still browse with you how to do that on your own. So the web page here is the comitology register. You have the URL in the top bar, and you will have it in the support afterwards, so don't worry about that. And the comitology register here is really the area of transparency of Europe, where you can find lots of documents. So starting with the beginning, we want to focus on the documents. So you click on the tab Documents, and then you can access all ongoing documents on the transparency register from the European Commission. Here you can see that there are a bit over 100,000 documents, and it's very likely that you're looking for one in them, being, of course, the work program for 2026-2027 of your preferred cluster, being cluster 6. But if you're working on other clusters, also it's the same methodology. So now you are in the documents. What you want to do is to find the right committee. So there are codes for each committee, and there is one committee per thematic, per area of Horizon Europe. And this is a table you will be highly interested in. This is the correspondence between the cluster with the official committee name and especially, and more importantly, the committee code. So for instance, if you're working in health, you will look for the committee code C70405. And if you're working on New European Bauhaus, it's C7041. And for the one we'll look for together, food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment, C70410. So you enter the committee code here, and then you have access to the documents that are related to this specific committee. So here you see we have only 305 documents, which is still a lot. Some of the documents, maybe you have the information on the register that the documents have been made, but probably you cannot access all the documents because some of them are still confidential. You have the information that the document exists, but you cannot access the content of the document. However, regarding the work program, this is something you can access. How do you do that? Have a look at the document title and what you're looking for. So here in our case, you're looking for the work program 2026-2027. So just type it down, and then you come down to 3 documents. Here you can see, so these are the documents you want. And as I mentioned, there are several rounds of discussion between the European Commission, the Program Committee, and their representatives. And here you have access to the 3 versions of the work program from our cluster 6. So you can see that the version 1 was published in April, the second one was in late May, and the third one in the very late July. If you want, you can try to compare those versions to see the evolution, to see what subjects have been amended, what has been added, what has been removed, because these are clearly things that happen between the different versions. Budgets may be changed, phrasing may change, type of action may change, topics may appear, and other topics may also disappear. So if you are interested in the evolution of this document, you can make comparison between them, but more importantly and more likely, you will look for the latest version. What I just want to emphasize here is that the latest version is, of course, the one that is more up to date, but still it's a draft document. So you have to use it for what it is, a draft document. So it's good for you to orient your strategy to say, okay, we're interested in this and that topic, and perhaps a good consortium would be this and that partner, and start to initiate the work. However, I would recommend to avoid putting all your resources in one topic and starting the application too early, because they might, again, have some changes even after the publication of these draft documents. Okay, so now you have seen 2 ways to access these documents. So either through your local NCP webpage, if they provide some, there are some NCP that provide a research engine that will drive you in these documents. Here in France, we provide directly the link to the page, and I'm sure there are several European countries doing the same. You have also seen that we can access it through the official comitology register and transparency with the comitology, the committee code, sorry. Now, if we go into the content of the work program 2026, because this is the class 1, here are some presentations. So we find again our 7 destinations: biodiversity, farm to fork, CARE4BIO, zero pollution, climate, communities, and governance. For each destination, you have the given deadlines, and it's quite good for this year, because we have deadlines in March or April, and a few of them later on in September for the 2 stages. But probably this year we will not have the big rush after the summer holiday, which is, to me, a good news. Regarding the type of actions, in the first line you have the innovation action. So as a reminder, these are innovation more oriented towards industry, while research and innovation action, the line below RIA, are rather oriented at producing knowledge and supporting research. Still keep in mind that we are in a pillar that is called global challenges and European competitiveness. So even though you're working on research, keep that in mind. There are also some action for CSA, coordination and support action, and COFUN to basically fund some partnerships. If we go into the details per destination, we see that in biodiversity's destination, we have 6 calls for research and innovation action for a total of 78 million euros. And we have 1 CSA for 7.5 million euros. And these are for the deadline in March 2026. So again, just want to highlight that we're end of September. This is a good timing to consider an application. The publication will occur in the next month. And if you want to have the right timing to start the work and perform well to apply in March 2026, this is good that you have access to the information now. In Farm to Fork, there are 4 projects for innovation action for a total of 48 million euros, plus 7 research and innovation action just for over 90 million euros, 3 coordination and support action for a total of 7 million euros. I will talk about the brown line later on. That's not a mistake on my side. On the third destination, CARE4BIO, also for March 2026, while Farm to Fork is for April, we have 3 innovation action for a total of 34 million euros, plus 7 research and innovation action for a total of 70 million euro allocated to that destination, and also 1 CSA for 3 million euros. Regarding zero pollution, also deadline in March 2026, we have 1 IA for 12 million euros and 2 research and innovation actions for 22 million euros. We continue with climate and communities that are both for April 2026, and each of them has 1 research and innovation action only, and the first one for 8 million euro and the later for 12 million euros. Sorry. Eventually, for governance, we have most of the call for March 2026 with 1 innovation action for 15 million euros, 3 research and innovation action for a total of 31 million euros, 5 CSAs for a bit more than 35 million euros. And in November 2026, that will be the deadline for the COFUN action for 45 million euros. These are the call with single stage application, and I just want now to go and talk a bit about the brown line in the bottom, about the 2-stage applications. For biodiversity, you have 3 research and innovation action for a total of 47 million euros. For Farm to Fork, 2 innovation action for 27 million euros. For CARE4BIO, 2 innovation action for 30 million euros. For zero pollution, 1 research and innovation action for 23 million euros. And finally, for governance, 1 research and innovation action for 12 million euros. At the bottom line, you see the deadlines. So March 2026 for the first stage application. So as you probably know, a short application with only 10 pages and focusing on part 1 and 2. And the full application if you're successful at the first stage. So you cannot apply directly at the full stage application if you have not successfully applied to the first one. The deadline will be in September 2026. You also probably noticed that there are some stars after the line describing the type of action per destination. It's about the blind evaluation. So some of you may be familiar with the blind evaluation in cluster 6. That's a cluster we have quite some of them compared to other clusters. The idea is that for these applications, you can apply for the first stage, but you must not disclose who is applying. So you cannot disclose what is the consortium. You cannot give indirect information that could lead to identify partners or coordinator of the consortium. The objective of this approach, sorry, is to have a blind evaluation that gives equal chances to all the countries and all the structures, no matter of who you are, what's your background, and so on. Of course, if you are selected in the second stage, you will have to disclose who you are, and the evaluation will just be evaluated as usual. So you can see that in biodiversity, among the 3 research and innovation actions, 1 is blindly evaluated. In Farm to Fork, both of the innovation actions are under blind evaluation. In CARE4BIO, it's 2-step, but it's no blind evaluation. And in zero pollution and governance, both research and innovation action are under blind evaluation. So this changes sometimes how you address the construction of your project. So it's good for you to be aware of that. One thing regarding statistics. So you can have on the rightest column, the percentage of the number of projects in the top line, and the percentage in terms of allocated budget in the bottom line. So you can clearly see that there is quite a significant effort in research and innovation action, which is, I think, quite good, because there is a very recurrent concern that not enough money is dedicated to research and innovation action. So we have here about half of the budget, half of the number of topics, dedicated to research and innovation action, with a bit less than 60% of the total budget of 2026 being allocated to research and innovation action, which I think goes in a way to address this concern about research. So this is about 2026. Of course, we will provide the same for 2027 once the official work program will be delivered, because doing it right now would be perhaps too much anticipated. Also keep in mind that all of this data come from the draft document, so may have changes. Some projects in the blind application may not be blind anymore, or the other way around. So again, very interesting information, very good for you to anticipate, but still with caution. What to do now once you have the chance to have this information? Of course, I couldn't recommend too much to access this document, to deep dive into it with in mind your expertise, your background, your interests, and then you can browse the documents and find good opportunities and set yourself the questions. Try to ask your networks to find the right partners to go to this endeavor together. Again, use it wisely. These are just draft documents. Of course, NCP networks are here to support you starting today and actually starting every day. We have the chance now that we can support you on these draft documents way in advance of phase. So if you're in the best possible networks and already had this information before, that's not a big change for you. If you are in the other vast majority of the research and innovation community, this really is a deal maker for you, because you have access to the same information as the other people had before, and you can anticipate as much as they did before. So you now are playing the same league basically. So that's very good for you. We often say that if you're willing to apply on Pillar 2 of Horizon Europe, having the right network is really key. To this extent, I have two remarks. The first one is that now you have the call, you can target and give a direction to your networking actions. So make the partnerships with the most relevant partners, with the different countries with different expertise to match the exact expectations of topic to come. And the second one is that CARE4BIO is of course providing the current session, but also providing lots of resources, among which the stakeholder map. We have it's a very complete document that again I engage you to browse and to read. It will increase your level of understanding of what are the stakeholders in Horizon Europe and around in a dramatic way. So again, I will recommend that a lot. And also, generally speaking, the resources of CARE4BIO are very good to support you in your application process. And finally, I just want to stress that regarding Cluster 6, the European Commission will give info days in the 22nd and 23rd of January 2026, and that CARE4BIO proposes a Brokerage event just the day before, so the 21st of January. This will be a perfect occasion to get to meet the structures, to build up your consortium, and to apply for different topics. Just before I finish this presentation, I just want to stress that if you plan to attend this Brokerage event on 21st January 2026, it's very likely that you will have better results if you come here well prepared, having browsed the documents in advance, as I just mentioned. So I engage you to browse these documents, to look for the CARE4BIO resources, empower yourself around them. Don't hesitate to contact your local NCP so they can support you in the effort of clarifying your concept to make sure it's fully aligned with the scope of the call, with the scope of the destination. Yeah, basically to support you as much as they can so you can give the best application for your country and for Europe. Now we are at the end of this presentation. I would really love if you could share with us what you like or disliked here. I put my email in the bottom of the slide. Please send me an email and tell me if you are interested, if you learn new information, if this will help you in your decision making towards Horizon Europe project. Did you know about the CARE4BIO resources, or perhaps you didn't learn much thing and you just waste half an hour, and I'm sorry for that. I hope it's not the case. And in that case, what are the missing information? What should be done for the next time? So don't hesitate to improve that, to share that, sorry, with us so we can improve. I will make the support available on CARE4BIO the day where we have 40% of attendees sharing their suits by email. So we have the number of attending people on the platform here, and I will take 30% of that. And once I have all the emails, the resources will be available on our website. That's it for me. If we have questions or remarks, you can put some questions in the chat. Don't hesitate to do so, and we will answer them if there are any. We have one comment with a thumb up, so I guess it was appreciated.
So thank you very much, Maxime. I don't think we have any other questions in the chat. So we have thank you for the presentation. So thank you very much, and thanks. Well, I think it was very useful, and thank you for sharing these committee codes with us. So we have a question actually from, well, is there still place for small projects? That is to say 2 or 3 partners. It seems all big budgets and projects in the work programs you presented.
Yes, so I'm going back to the eligibility conditions. To be eligible, basically to enter the process of applying on Horizon Europe, you need to be at least 3 independent structures, 3 independent entities from 3 different countries. So clearly, I'm sorry about that, but it's no place for project with 2 partners. 3 partners is eligible. It's, to be honest, it's not that common to have such small projects. It is eligible, so I'm sure if you browse the database, you will find some European projects under Horizon Europe Pillar 2 funded with 3 partners. I'm 100% sure that exists, but that's very uncommon. Usually in such partnerships, we have let's say between 5 and 15 partners. This is the biggest part of the project. One thing I want to emphasize is that the budget I presented are for the topics and not for the projects. So for instance, there are some topics where you can have several projects funded. It's still the million scale. But for instance, if you see, and you have the detail in the documents that are available on the comitology register, you have the detail on what's the scale of each project. But basically, you can expect projects to have a budget between 3 and 8 million euros. That's the average. So to answer your question, 2 partners, it's not eligible. 3 partners, it is eligible, but that's very uncommon. And the budget frame for a product is usually a few million euros.
Well, if I can add something, Maxime, just to say that Horizon Europe offers other opportunities like European partnerships or even the Eurostars program. And sometimes these programs could fund projects with less partners than in Cluster 6. So there are lots of opportunities in Horizon Europe. So please, again, don't hesitate to contact your local NCP and to check with him or her if there are some calls for proposals that are more suitable to your project. So I just want to, if I may, Maxime. And
sure.
Then we have another question about the associated countries, if they can join.
Yes, they definitely they can join. That's the quick answer. So they basically can participate in the same conditions of member countries. The only difference is that in a project to be eligible, you need to have at least 1 partner being in a member state. So yes, if you have a project with France, Portugal, New Zealand, and Canada, that's perfectly eligible.
Thank you, Maxime. Do we have other questions? So that's your time. Please don't hesitate. No, we don't. All right. So please, again, don't forget to have a look at our CARE4BIO website, where you can find a lot of information and all of what Maxime said and on brokerage events that we organize. And there is a lot of information in the website. So please have a look at it. And we do have some other questions. How many partners of the same country can take part in? Are there any restrictions?
That's a question I love because this is a common idea that there must be equilibrium between the different countries, and that it's not good to have too much partners of a country, which is wrong. So, as I mentioned, you have eligibility condition, and the conditions are at least 3 countries. So, if you're applying a consortium of 10 with only people from Luxembourg and Germany, you will not be eligible. If you add a French partner, then you become eligible, and there is no point in the evaluation phase where the number of countries or the equilibrium or the number of representatives per country enters the equation. So, and again, if you browse the database, so if you go on Cordis and look for some projects, 100% sure you will find projects with one country getting 70% of the budget and making 70% of the consortium. So there are no restriction in terms of number of partners per country. Only you must have 3 different countries with at least 3 independent entities, but that's an eligibility condition and not an evaluation. So I hope this is clear, at least for the people attending now. So yes, if you're from Germany and want to have a consortium with 10 German partners, 1 French and 1 from Portugal, that's okay. What matters is the relevance of your proposal to the call. So sometimes in some specific calls, it may happen that having a limited group of countries would be bad, but because of the topic. If you're working on I don't know, let's imagine a topic where you have to work on different pedoclimatic conditions for agriculture in Europe. Obviously, if you're working only with Spain, Portugal, south of France, Italy, you will miss part of the equation. So it won't be badly evaluated because you don't have Germany, because it's important to have German, or because you don't have Poland because you have no Eastern countries region, or because you have no Nordic country region. It may be poorly evaluated because you don't address the full question of the pedoclimatic condition in Europe. That's the only way a proposal may be badly evaluated, because of the composition of the consortium and because of this countryside and number of partners. So feel free to have the consortium what you want, be eligible and be relevant to the topic. That's the 2 directions you have to follow. There is also one other question from Costology. From what I understood, for climate, there is 1 project for 8 million, or is it 1 call for 8 million? It's 1 call for 8 million. And I can browse I can go back on the file to give you the answer on how many projects will be funded there. I don't have it by heart, but I can find the answer in minutes. So I will let you know for climate. So climate 2026. I will look for the information. Perhaps Simon, if you want to take another question in the meantime, don't hesitate.
Yes, I can. So Sibel Ozdemir is asking, how will we find partner from different countries for projects interested one? So as we said, NCPs, your local NCPs are here also for that. So we have some partner search forms, for example, and now your NCP can help you identify other partners from other countries. And this is also, well, the strengths of the CARE4BIO networks, because it's, CARE4BIO is the network of all NCPs in Europe. So we are linked together and we can find some partners in other countries. So please contact your NCP. We can help you with that. And you can also have a look at the European Commission's website, for example, Cordis, where you can find all the projects that were previously funded. And then you can find also useful information from your consortium. So there are lots of ways to find partners. And as we said, CARE4BIO also organizes a brokerage event. So that's really dedicated for finding partners.
So, Simon, if you allow me, going back to the question of
Of
castology
course,
regarding the climate, that's
please.
a mistake I made in preparing this, and I apologize for that. In climate, there are several topics. So, regarding research and innovation action, we have at least four topics funding two projects each, and there are also innovation actions. So, I will definitely update this information in the support to be uploaded on CARE4BIO. And again, my apology for the miswriting on this. There were also another question from Castology. Can the same institute be part of more than one proposal in the same call? That's the question just after. The quick answer is yes, but still some clarification are relevant. There are a few hurdles. First, from an ethic point of view, it's good that you are transparent with the people you're working with, that you are applying on several applications, because it may lead to some tension if you don't disclose that. I would recommend to have different teams involved in the different application when possible, to avoid the leak of information from one proposal to another. And the last point, but still important, you have to make sure that in the case that you're awarded both projects, that you have the capability to perform both. So if you're applying on two different proposals, for instance, in the climate topics, if you're funded for both and the same team is supposed to make the work, then you will bring problems to one of the two consortium, or perhaps to both. So there is no legal hurdle in participating in several calls. You will not have shortcoming on the evaluation because you are involved in several proposals. But again, from an ethical point of view, I would definitely recommend to be transparent on that with both sides, and make sure that if you are funded on both sides, that you have the capability to do so. One question: can you provide more details about the blind evaluation proposal process for some research and innovation actions? So the detail I would provide are both for research and innovation action and innovation actions. Basically, you submit the first step proposal, which is a 10-page document focusing on parts one, on section 1 and 2, so excellence and impact. You don't have to deal with implementation. And for the proposal evaluation process, all the part A with the administrative information is blanked, so the evaluator has no access to that, and they are instructed to evaluate the proposal with just based on the information that is in the proposal, and you are not allowed in the proposal to disclose who you are. I'm not a big fan of artificial intelligence for everywhere, but in this case, that's maybe very helpful. If you have a doubt, just copy paste the very specific sentence describing your partner, and put it in an artificial intelligence engine, or your preferred one, and ask what is the structure. If you have a list of one or two, probably it's a bit too focused and you need to be more vague. If it provides you a wide list of possible structures corresponding to that, then probably it's fine. So yeah, the details on the evaluation, it's only on part B, and you're not allowed to disclose who is the consortium, nor to give indication on I mean, if you say that you're working with the largest public research center in France for focusing on agriculture and food, everyone knows that you're working with INRAE, and you're not allowed to do that. So you have to be vague enough so the evaluator cannot find out who you are. By the way, you will find some resources on the European Commission website. If you look for a blind evaluation recommendation, there is a PowerPoint that is actually pretty good in driving you in this process. How many proposals can join or be partner on advisory company or research institution? I just answered that before. As many as you want. Just regarding ethics, provide some clarification, some transparency, and make sure that you can participate if many projects are successful. The last question we have regarding the output of the project, should it be applicable universally or to partnering country? For instance, is it okay, a project which is only applicable to certain climates, certain countries? That's a very good question. And the very quick answer will be, it depends. Basically, it depends on what's in the call. European projects in Pillar 2 as global challenges and European competitiveness. So if you think that your project is relevant for European issues and that will be good for European competitiveness, that's okay. There are some projects specifically targeting some climates. There are some other projects that will, on the other hand, look for European-wide application. So there is no blank or white answer to that question. It really depends on the call. And what I would recommend is that you frame your concept, you read the topic, you read the destination, and you get in touch with your NCP. And then you deep dive into both of documents and see whether the equation is good or not. And again, I want to stress that there are, in European projects, and especially in Pillar 2, there are no good or bad projects. There are projects that fit the scope and projects that don't. So focusing on a specific climate may be perfect for a topic and very bad for another.
That's very clear. Thank you very much, Maxime.
I'm trying.
No.
Okay, do we have other questions?
Well, I don't think so.
I don't think either. Again, sorry for the issue on the number of topics. I will update the support, and we will upload a better version.
Yeah, that's okay, Maxime. And well, we wanted Maxime and I to thank you all for your questions, because it's really great, to have questions. It's always better than having no questions. So thank you for that. And so, Maxime, I think we can close this webinar. If you're okay with that. So I'd like to thank you all of you very much for attending this event. We keep in touch, and we will be pleased with our colleagues from all over Europe to answer your questions. Thank you very much, and thank you, Maxime, for your answers and your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.